Hello friends and fellow Canadians, and I guess anybody who is interested in learning more about me. Today on my social media, a few comments, a few posts have come up about my other social media pages under the name Nakula Das, questioning who is this guy? Who is he really? And a few people made comments about the content that I post on my other pages, which, if you don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you in a little bit. But I just wanted to say that I think it's natural. I'm not mad that these things came up. I'm not mad that my spiritual beliefs, my religious beliefs have come up, or my business, how do I make a living, has come up. I'm very open, and that's why I do what I do. And I wanted to do this video so you have a better chance to know me. I think it's natural that when someone puts themselves out there and says, hey, I can help, or start speaking out, as many of you have, about what you believe and how you want to see our country move forward, that people will inquire to know more about you. And so I'm glad that these things have come up, so that it gives me the opportunity to educate and share. So a little bit about my background. I came to this country in 1988. I was 3 years old. My mother and father came from the country of Brazil. Now, we moved here from the country of Brazil, but my mom and dad's original origin is from a country of Guyana, which is just at the top of South America and is considered one of the Caribbean nations. My mom's background goes back to India, and my dad's background goes back to Portugal, hence my last name Pereira, which is a Portuguese last name. My dad's family, on my dad's side, is very Catholic, and I grew up generally in the Catholic Church. My mom's side was Christian and kind of went along with whatever was available, from my understanding. So growing up as a child, I grew up I went to Catholic school, I went to Catholic church. Now, I was always by nature very inquisitive, always asked the question why, and that used to bug a lot of people, especially I found within my experience of the church. My experience of the church is not a universal experience of the church. I'm just sharing with you my experience with the Catholic Church. So, I did the reconciliation and confirmation and, all of these different, baptism, all of these different sort of checkpoints within the Catholic tradition. And I was always inquisitive, and I was very much attracted to Jesus. Not necessarily as Jesus the spiritual guy, but I really was attracted to Jesus the man and who he was, and of course his teachings, but I was really attracted to him and what he was all about and how he was leading this revolution and he was challenging the status quo. And I guess that's something in my spirit that's just very much attracted to that type of personality. And so, as I said, I went through all of the Catholic, learnings and going to church. And then, about grade 9, I really started questioning, again, not Jesus, and I wouldn't say I was questioning even the church, but I was seeing a lot of incongruencies or things that I couldn't understand. And so I remember in grade 9, I was just hammering my grade 9 religion teacher on all kinds of questions about the Bible and Jesus and our belief systems and God and who is God and why does he do this and why does he do that? And eventually I was told just to shut up and have faith, or that basically I was told I have no faith because I asked so many questions. And as an immature 14-year-old grade 9er, I kind of went, well, you can imagine what I said. I won't say it on camera, but, I said a few words, and in my mind, I had dismissed religion and spirituality and Jesus. I put that all in one box and shoved it far away from my life for a long time. But as life goes on, we run into challenges, right? We run into hardships, and, I met my wife, Sarah, and we were both very inquisitive about spirituality. And we weren't, necessarily, my wife is Jewish background, and I'm coming from a Catholic background, and we were just interested in spirituality overall. Something that I've always loved is, three things. Three things that they tell you never to talk about at the dinner table: God, sex, and politics. And I love those three conversations because I think that those three conversations are the vital conversations that really determine who we are, often at an unconscious level. So through my journey, I started studying Buddhism because I felt Buddhism was very safe. You know, there's no real deep emphasis on God, but it became about mindfulness, learning about the mind, learning about compassion, understanding who we are in relation to others. And I started going on this deep spiritual journey where I was going to shamans and healers and new age philosophers and I was getting interested in the Bible again and in yoga. I was studying everything. And I very much have that kind of mindset today where I love to know about life and different cultures and religions and traditions. And it's one of the reasons I love Canada, because in Canada, we welcome diversity. Now, through all of this studying, and I dove deep into the personal development world, and I became a coach, a life coach. And I started a business where I started helping others. First, just discover who they are, understand how their belief systems work. This led me to years of life and business coaching where I would help spiritually based entrepreneurs in the wellness industry grow their business, learn how to sell, learn how to market themselves. So as I'm building my own business, I'm learning about spirituality. I start studying Buddhism and learning about Siddhartha Gautama, who we call the Buddha. I recognize that Siddhartha learned from the yogis, the ancient yogis of India. And so I became very curious about yoga, and not just the physical postures as what we mainly consider to be yoga in the Western world, but the actual philosophy of yoga. And that's when I studied books like Bhagavad Gita, which is the main text in the Hindu culture. I started reading books like Srimad Bhagavatam, and eventually I found myself inside the Hare Krishna order, which is a worldwide way of worshiping. Actually, the tradition is called Gaudiya Vaishnava, which means followers of Vishnu, and Vishnu means God. So, and they practice something called Bhakti Yoga. And I learned that the word bhakti is equivalent to the word agape in the Christian Bible. So bhakti means selfless love and devotion, a divine love. And bhakti means a divine service or divine selfless love to the divine. And amongst all of these traditions that I've studied, including some native Canadian traditions and people like Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra and so many different books and philosophers, I recognized there were some really core principles amongst them all. And so for myself, I really gravitated, I really enjoyed learning from the Vedic knowledge. It's taught me so much about life, and it's actually brought me closer to understanding Jesus. It's funny that through all of this, I was slowly and still today grow closer and closer to Jesus. Now, let's be real here. I am no saint, far from it. Growing up, I was a rapper named Token. So, let's spill the dirt, right? In my early 20s, I started a rap career named Token, T-O-K''N. In fact, I will leave in the comments below the video, my music video, so you can watch. If you look hard enough, I'm not going to tell you where to look, but if you look hard enough, you will find a video, a quick short clip of me streaking across Parliament Hill in Ottawa. I was a wild 20-year-old. I've done tons of drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. I partied a lot. I am someone who loves life and all aspects of life. And I don't judge. That's why I don't, I try my hardest not to virtue signal or try to judge people based upon their past or who they are or what they've done. I get it. I've done so many things in my life, like most of us. And I think that we need to be honest and real about that, because the virtue signaling and the I'm better than you or I hold some moral standard better than you is what's causing so much division, when we have to look in our own hearts and say, who am I to judge anyone else? Who am I to say how you live or how you worship is right or wrong? I'm simply a human being discovering what it means to be human and looking to live my life to the fullest, free and prosper and find love and joy. And I have found that to be true amongst all cultures and all sexes and all religions. The core of who we are is the same. And that's why I believe in unity in diversity. Because we are all at the core the same. But we are individuals, so we have diverse ways of worshiping and connecting with God, and we express our sexuality, our creativity in all kinds of different ways. So my time, as I was going on this journey, I met the Hare Krishnas. I really fell in love with their form of worship, with their form of connecting with God. And I've learned so much about spirituality because of this order. And I became an initiated member. So hence I was given the name by my spiritual master, Nakula Das. So I'm born Nicholas Pereira, and I have a spiritual name, Nakula Das. And so therefore I do my business under my spiritual name, Nakula Das, which I'm also going to leave a video to my YouTube channel so you can know exactly what it is that Nakula Das is all about. Now, inside of all of these spiritual traditions, they all have their own ways of teaching about sex. Now, sex is a part of life. It's a major part of life. And at an unconscious level, unless we become conscious and educated about it, it dictates so many of our decisions, so much of what we do. Right now, I believe there's an attack on our sex, confusing us about who we are, about having different roles in society. Oh no, he said roles. I know. Yes, I'm for fair, equal life for men and women. If you do a job, if you're a woman and you do a job and I'm a man and I do a job and we get the same result, absolutely we should get paid the same. To me, that's not even a question. I'm not talking about that type of roles. I'm talking about nature's disposition. There's differences between men and women. And I found some of the religious teachings dive really deep into this subject, especially the Taoist tradition. Now, in the Hindu tradition and through the Vedic knowledge, they also dive deep into this subject. But I found a lot of clarity in the Taoist tradition who talk deeply about male and female energy. And one of the things I discovered through a book called Think and Grow Rich or Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill was the idea of sex transmutation. And essentially, this is the ability to rise above our basic sexual urges, to have control over our sexual energy. Now, this is a deep subject, so I'm not going to go deeply into it, but you have to be open-minded and realize that this knowledge is known by so many of the quote-unquote elites, athletes like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Olympic athletes would practice no sex or sexual transmutation practices. Kanye West has talked about it. 50 Cent. There's so many. Sting gives his creative abilities to his sexual and tantric practices. So I was super curious about sex. I'm a man. I like to have sex. That's a bad thing to say these days, right? But it's not. If we deny who we are as real human beings and put ourselves on this saintly platform, well, some of us may be there, right? My guru, he's a saint. Maybe your priest, your pastor, these are saints. But most of us are like me, we're just, half animal, half human type of thing, right? And so the reality is that I wanted to find a way, because I'm not a celibate, I wanted to find a way where I could transmute my sexual energy. And so I discovered this entire depth of knowledge on semen retention, sex transmutation, tantra. This helps men evolve inwardly. First of all, it makes men be able to give up porn addiction. One of the main things I do under the Nakula Das brand is help men give up porn. 1 out of 10 men are reportedly addicted to porn. Now that's reportedly addicted. So we're not talking about, unreported. Out of every 1 out of 4 men who are experiencing erectile dysfunction right now, 1 out of those 4 men are under the age of 40. Men and women, young boys and girls are experiencing, are being exposed to porn at a very young age because of the digital age and the rise of the internet. This is messing with our brains. It's messing with our sexuality. It's messing with who we are at a core fundamental element. It's messing with us at our very deep core subconscious mind. And so I discovered this knowledge and I began to practice Tantra, sexual transmutation techniques. I practice a form of lifestyle called semen retention, where I restrict and control my ejaculation. I have sex, right? But I don't always ejaculate during sex. Now, again, this is a very deep subject, and that's why I'm going to share my YouTube channel for those who want to go deeper. But I'm trying to be as open as I can with you so you know who I am and the body of knowledge in which I'm coming from and what it is that why it is that I'm speaking out about our freedoms. Because it was through all of this knowledge. I've studied history, war tactics. I love reading books on politics. I've read on tons of different politicians and dictators and different government styles and philosophies. This is my passion in life. And because of this, I discovered sexual transmutation, and I discovered how right now in our world, like, just so you know, since the 1920s, men have been losing testosterone, meaning each generation born after the 1920s has less and less testosterone than the men before. This is an attack on our masculinity, on who we are as men. Because when we don't have strong men in society, when men don't know who they are, and men sit in their more feminine energy, we become subdued and easy to control. If we're all just watching porn all day and binge watching Netflix and we're just living these sedentary lifestyles, it's unhealthy and we become subdued. We can't think. We become easily controlled. And you see, I started getting into all of this knowledge and I started practicing the techniques of sex transmutation. I then created a course called How to Become a Sexual Alchemist, where I'm proud to say that I work with men all across the globe, helping them give up porn addiction, become better lovers for their partners, understand their sexual energy, use their sexual energy to improve their testosterone levels, and become more masculine. Masculine isn't like toxic masculinity where I just beat my chest. It's about being great providers and protectors, about being connected. And that's what we need in the world. I promise you, if 10% of men across Canada learned how to control their sexual energy consciously and use it to become a force of a forceful power, when I say power, not power over others, but power to control themselves and to evolve inwardly, there's not a chance in heck that Justin Trudeau or any tyrant government would ever take control of this country. So people have questioned, who am I? What are my intentions? What's Nakula Das? Nakula Das is a part of who I am. I teach men how to control their sexual energy, harness it so that they can become better men. I'm very proud of what I do. I've helped a lot of people, and I'm going to continue to help a lot of people. And in no way does my spiritual or religious or sexual practices interfere with my ability to help stand for us as Canadians. In fact, it's because of these practices and because of this knowledge that I can stand here solid in who I am, ready to take on the greater fight. And I'm ready to do this now and well into the future. So thank you so much for bringing up these subjects of who I am. Thank you so much for inquiring. I know it wasn't made in an inquiring spirit, but I'm happy that this came up because it allowed me to share more about who I am and how I'm here to serve people and humanity. Thank you so much. I would love to hear your comments and thoughts below. I'll leave a link to my music video so you can check that out. And I made that in my early 20s. And I'll leave a link to my Nakula Das YouTube channel where you can learn more about how I'm helping men. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much.